Welcome back and thank you for staying with us here on the program. Don't forget you can relate with us and join the conversation via these social media addresses showing on your screen right now. Let's move forward now. It's over 2 months since the leadership of the National Conference submitted the recommendation of its deliberations, and a major aspiration of the conference is how the nation can correct what many have referred to as a constitutional flaw, which is often referred to most of the time as a decree we inherited from the military. Hopes are, however, high about the outcome of the confab as President Jonathan promised to implement the recommendations. Let's hear him on the 1st of October when he made categorical statement about the confab.
I've made the commitment that we will act on the recommendations of the conference. This I have started by setting up the ministerial committee headed by the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation to work out the modalities for implementing the report. Every promise I make, God willing, I'll see to its fulfillment. I assure you, we shall implement the report.
Confab was convoked. The process of amending the Constitution has been on, and several of the amendments are not quite in consonance with what is in the confab recommendations. The question is, will the confab report be implemented and in what ways? Will there be any form of clash between what the delegates recommended and the amendment of the National Assembly, which is the National Assembly is working on? Tonight, we have in the studio a delegate at the National Conference, a seasoned legal practitioner, and an elder statesman, Chief Ayo Adebanjo. Thank you for joining us on Politics Today tonight. Thank you. Just before we start the conversation about this matter, of course, you can be part of it, and of course, we'll take your comments and your interventions on the program. Let's listen to some of the amendments being passed. It's not finalized yet at the National Assembly, but these are some of the things that they are talking about and they are passing at the National Assembly on the 1999 Constitution as amended. Take a listen.
The inability of the Senate to form a quorum last week, Wednesday, stalled its consideration of the report of the Conference Committee on the review of the 1999 Constitution. At the resumption of plenary on Tuesday, the situation was remedied.
In other words,
Federal lawmakers in the Senate approved several provisions adopted by the Conference Committee on the amendment of the 1999 Constitution. They include autonomy for local governments, empowering the National Assembly and the State Houses of Assembly to prescribe civil or criminal sanctions for failure, refusal, or neglect to obey summons issued by the National Assembly, amending Section 9 by removing the need for presidential assent in Constitution alteration exercise, amending Section 65 and Section 106 to provide for independent candidacy in elections, creation of the Office of the Accountant General for the Federal Government, establishment of the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation and Attorney General of a state separate from the Minister of Justice and Commissioner of Justice, amending Section 225, empowering INEC to deregister political parties for breach of registration requirements and failure to win either a presidential, governorship, local government chairmanship, or a seat in the National or State Assembly.
For Amendment 2014, say aye. Aye. Against, say nay. The ayes have it.
However, the Conference Committee rejected the removal of the immunity clause for the President, Vice President, governors and their deputies in the proposed new constitution.
The House of Representatives earlier had voted to remove the issue of immunity, so but it was rejected by the Senate. So at the Conference Committee, we adopted the Senate version, so we retained the issue of immunity. So the Joint Conference report excluded the issue of immunity for both the governors and the president. So it's retained as it is in the constitution. So which means we took the snap position in that respect.
All eyes will now be on the state houses of assembly to see which of these provisions would be adopted and which will be thrown out. Linda Kivi, Channels Television News.
Of course, when you hear the sound of the gavel from the leader of the House or at the Senate in any hollow chamber, you know that is almost certain, is almost done and sealed. Will all of these that we are seeing in the development of our nation be reconciled? How will all of these pan out eventually? Well, that's the reason why Chief Ayo Adebanjo is here. Thank you for coming on Politics Today. Tell me, Chief Adebanjo, with what we saw at the National Conference, it's about 3 months, over 2 months since the conference submitted its recommendations. Does it look like the recommendations will see the light of day at all?
Oh, no, there's no doubt about that, that it's going to see the light of the day. I believe in the president. And as he said, every word he has given us, he has implemented. Don't forget, even this conference, he was one of those who said, no, nothing like it. He and the president of the Senate. But under pressure by responsible citizens who love this country more, he yielded. It's all right. There's a case of what you have made. Even in the household, members of the household sit down and discuss their problem. There's no harm in it. Which was what the purpose of the conference was to serve. And he did convoke the conference. Signed it, and then at that time said, no, it will never happen. Then he disappointed them. Then the next thing is, oh, this will never end well. There will be confusion and all that. They were disappointed. The stage now is, oh, will he implement? For God's sake. My own view is, the God that made Jonathan to convoke the conference, the God that guided us at the conference to see that everything went through, and we passed 600 resolutions without dissension, will help Jonathan to implement the conference.
I remember, Chief Adebanjo, that you once told me that was long before the convocation of the national confab. You once told me that the president that will make that move, because you said at that time in your group that it was something that we needed urgently as a country to take us forward. We needed to talk. And you said the government or the president who will take this move is a government that has the interest of this country. And you said that will make us move forward. And that's one of the reasons why I thought about you in this particular matter. Tell me, with what we have on ground, do you think the recommendations actually represent the mind of an average Nigerian?
Of course.
The resolution of our collective challenges?
Cast your mind to the composition of that conference. And I want to repeat, you can never get that type of quality in any other conference in this country. By the quality, by the number, by the integrity. A conference where you have at peace aside, Tunde Bakari, Fola Adeola, Repu, and mind of the
Chief Clark,
and others. These are the people who know about Nigeria's mistake. And I humbly say, I am one of those who fought for independence. I am one of those who can confirm that the constitution that the independence gave us is not what is operative now. I am one of those who have been agitating for confirm since the Nat'l days.